Good evening, everybody. This is Casper from the Tropical Weather Threat Society, bringing you our nightly update regarding the tropics, and we don't have much to talk about tonight. One little thing that is kind of drawing my attention, we'll go over here in a minute for kind of the middle of September and stuff. But otherwise than that, we really don't have much at all here tonight. No tropical cyclone expected over the next 7 days for the Atlantic Basin. If we look at the ensembles, we've got the Euro Legacy pushed out 10 days. We don't have much. We're still continue to watch the main development region for the potential of some spin ups, but not much of a signal at all. If we compare that with the Euro AI shows a little bit of a different story. And this is something that has been somewhat consistent if we go back run to run. As you could see, it does have a little bit of consistency with the AI model. So, and also, right at day 10, right there, just a few circles, but something that could, that's going to require monitoring because of if we look here right now just at the regular satellite view, you will notice this trough and frontal boundary that's dragging all the way down. It's really close to the Yucatan Peninsula, which is right here. So could we see something over time with the? Yeah, it's possible. Um, It is. It's just that time of year. But again, the majority of what we have is out here into the portions of the main development region that would struggle to make it to the United States if it did develop out here. The GEFS, comparing them all together, we do have some signal out here into the main development region and out here in the Western Caribbean, though you can see it is beyond the 7 day reliability. So we'll continue to watch it. And also, there's just not a lot of them as well. Switching over to the Google DeepMind, this is where things get a little bit interesting. If we run this forward, I've got their current model and uh, the new DeepMind model up. So we've got the blue and the green. And I'm gonna highlight here, we're out 7 days. And as you can see, the majority of the tracks and pretty much everything wants to take a turn if it develops early. If it develops a little later, then it may come down. But all signals are showing that if it tries to be above basically 20 degrees north, it's going to turn north. Now, if it stays, like the one down here in the Caribbean, it's just one out of 50. So you're looking at 2% at that point. So all in all, it does look halfway decent, at least for U.S. interest over the next 10 days. Um, that being said, what we've got here is the 850 millibar level. This for cyclonic vorticity. The 850 millibar level represents approximately 1 mile above the ocean surface, and we're looking for areas of spin. And if we notice that we do have that little area of low pressure off of the Florida west coast, it is being sheared to death. It is non-tropical, but it is keeping quite a bit of cloud cover, shower and thunderstorm activity for the Florida peninsula. If we continue to run this forward, we're out 72 hours. We really don't have much. Out 96, not much. 120, we're starting to get a wave emanating from the African continent that is the one that the ensembles are picking up on potentially developing. As you could see, as we get a little further and further out, the euro is also in agreement with it. Now, Here we are at about, let's see, we'll go out 8 days. And the one thing that is completely different from one to the other, and it has been consistently night after night, we have a Central American gyre on the GFS, and we do not on the Euro. So let me put an X through this. We do not have the same feature at all. And if you could also look, our little spot here and our little spot here, there's nothing on the Euro in that location and pretty much nothing on the GFS in this location. So they are in complete divergent from one another. I mean, hell, there's a huge upper level low here and a high pressure here. So they are totally, totally different. So, we'll check back tomorrow and see if they've got any agreement, especially where the tropics are concerned. So now we're going to take a look at our relative humidity. We've got the 500 millibar level here, which is approximately on the top, which is approximately 3.5 miles above the ocean surface. We have the 700 millibar level, which is approximately 2 miles above the ocean surface, located on the bottom. As we can see right now on all four screens, with the Euro on the left and the GFS on the right, both of them are in great agreement with now that there is a massive amount of dry air across the tropical Atlantic at all levels, really. So as we continue to run this forward, we will note that there is a large difference in what we're already looking at, and we're going to come out 5 days. Now, the GFS has some dry air working in. Let me get my crayons out here, because this is kind of where they diverge. We have the GFS working some dry air in like this, 500 millibar level. But we have a large plume of moisture located to the north of it. Now, if we compare that with the Euro, we have much drier air working its way in and no significant plume of moisture. We've got this one here, which is also noted here, but we don't have what I've got circled. That's completely different. All right, there is a total change. Now, if we compare them both with the 700 millibar level, we do have the dry air here, and we do have the dry air here. Again, we've got a large area of moisture right here. You all right down there? No, sorry about the dog hack. But we have some moisture, but we don't have that large conglomerate area of moisture. Now, our new wave coming off the African mainland is noted on all, and they're in pretty good agreement. So we can say yes to this new wave, that we're going to have to watch it. What we've got going on out here into Central America, potentially in the Western Caribbean, well, there's some variability, especially between the models. Now, by the time we get out to day 7, oh, that was too far. We'll get back out to day 7. We'll come get our circles. We still have a great amount of dry air associated with the Euro, and then a considerable, large amount of dry air across the Gulf and the southeastern United States, as noted here on the Euro. The GFS has the great amount of dry air associated with the frontal boundary and the trough that is going to move through. But it has this large area of moisture associated with the Western Caribbean. So we start to get the buildup and some low pressure begins to spin out here, and that's when the gyre is kind of forecast to form. So, it, right now, the models of what we see, especially if we run, I'll go back to the seed and we'll run this out to day 10. Now, by the time we get to day 10, if you notice, we don't have anything at day 7 on the GFS. You have nothing. All of a sudden, boom. Now, we see this numerous times throughout the year to where the GFS in the beginning of the season and in the end of the season may have a tendency to spin up quote unquote ghost storms. And it has a convective feedback bias there in the Western Caribbean. And if you look, it generates shower and thunderstorm activity, and then all of a sudden, boom. Now, I'm not saying that that can't happen, but you don't have any other model that is in agreement with it. And even it's very, very slight chance on some ensembles. So it's not a non-zero chance, but I wouldn't get yourself worked up over any operational run on something that has not developed. Now, there may be an environment of some rather conducive conditions when we get into around this time frame, but we're going to have to check where that trough is and where that shear sets up. Because if that trough stays in place, you're not pulling anything up into the Gulf. So let's check our shear. We have the Euro on the left and the GFS on the right. If we run this forward, and we already know that we really want to kind of get into the day 5, day 6, day 7 time frame. So by the time that we get to day 7, we'll note that there is a massive amount of shear. Let's erase that. Over the Western Caribbean on both models. The GFS is a lot stronger than what the Euro is. All right, now let's run this forward and watch what happens. We know the GFS develops something, but look what the Euro does. Completely different, with an upper level low system trying to get its act together. And the GFS wants to develop some type of, organization. Huge difference at this point in time. So we're going to have to wait until we get some congruency with the models. Please do not trust what you see on the operational runs out there if it's beyond 7 days right now, because they do not agree past about 5. All right, our nightly look into the MJO. Now, this is kind of the spot that where I was like, uh-oh, we may have a little something, something coming. And, Mother Nature might be coming up to the quote-unquote light switch and may turn the basin on for a short period of time. So, what we're looking at here is our forecast, and right now the MJO is located right about here. It is forecast for the GFS and the GEFS to come back into this general direction. We, in our basin areas, are 8 and 1. We are like way over here in 8, and the majority of 1. All right. This is kind of disturbing, I'm not going to lie. If I take a look at the GFS ensembles, we have it coming up, coming through, and then potentially amplifying as we get out here. Now, some of these are just absolutely ridiculous, okay? But getting out into this general region and then amplifying in this area is kind of what we don't want to see. All right, now this would be more towards the latter end of the time frame here between September 8th and September 22nd. This is getting more towards September 22nd, like I would say like beginning of the third week of or middle of the third week of September. So, and it could start a little earlier, and I'll show you why. So, this is the GFS. This is the GEFS 200 millibar velocity potential going out in time. Now, how we read this is we go forward in time by coming down. Our blue colors are lower values of velocity and or just wind speed itself. Like you get rising air. You don't have a lot of sinking air. You don't have a lot of wind shear. If you look at where this is, I'm going to draw the square down on it, and we're going to bring it through right down here. If you look at this map, all of this from about here, because you got to include the Gulf, all the way to here is the Atlantic Basin. All of this. That's what this is. All right. So if we review before we take a look and compare this with the euro, we have the GEFS and the GFS. You kind of get a view of what we were looking at. All right. In this version of the graphic, going forward in time, as you can see, by the time that we get out, September 17th, 19th, 21st, all of this could be sitting in the Atlantic Basin. All right, so now we obviously don't trust one run of any particular model. We always compare them together and look for what they agree with and congruence, right? Here is the Euro Legacy. Now, the Euro Legacy has a very similar signal, but does not hang it around, actually continues to move it off to the east as we go forward in time. But has this same signal right here, September 15th through about September 21st. Okay? And then maybe this suppressive phase will come back. Now, we're looking at our area right now, and as you can see, we've got suppressive conditions over our basin, and we don't have much on the outlook. We have nothing. So, as you can see, this means nothing. This means go. All right, let's compare this with the Euro AI. Ouch. Similar signal. No, Sammy. Hi, Ashley. No, we will not finish the list of named storms this year. No, we won't. Not even close. We've got 6, and we'd have to get to 21. There's no way. Basin just won't materialize 15 storms in that amount of time. And if it does, it'd be one hell of a time to be alive, because pretty much Mother Nature's full-blown wrath. But as we could see with the Euro AI, similar thinking, similar time frame, maybe sticks around and enhances, as you could see with these colors getting a little bit bigger with their anomalies. So it's the signal that I'm seeing is something to where it's like, okay, all right, like the basin's been quiet, and we definitely don't expect it to remain this way. And right now, we're just looking for the potential signals as to possible better conditions than what we're dealing with right now, with all of this suppressive phase of the Madden Julian oscillation here. So as it now, I'm gonna be honest with you folks, this forecast could change, but it's becoming less and less unlikely because if you look, today's the 9th, and this only goes out 15 days. So a 4-day forecast, we're starting to get it to move. That leaves a pretty decent amount of possibility, especially when you're looking at the Euro and the GFS all in agreement. So, things may change over the upcoming week and a half as we get into a little bit more of a conducive environment and things start to mix out and we start to get a little bit of extra moisture potentially back to the basin. May get organization of something for sure, especially in the main development region where we have the intertropical convergence zone, where we have the collision of the air masses from the southern hemisphere and the northern hemisphere. Sometimes it's also known as the monsoon trough. It really all depends on how the winds interact with one another. But as you could see, when you have winds coming this direction, and then you have winds turning and coming this direction, you get natural areas of spin and rotation all along the line. You got one back here, one down there, one over here, one over there, and the monsoon trough is kind of sitting like this. And there is the second Peaches hack of the live stream. It's all quiet in here, and the next thing you know, the dog hacks, and I about leap out of my damn chair. So, as you can see, this is where we should see a lot of development of shower and thunderstorm activity. So, let's go back and take a look at our satellite, and that band is right there. Now, this is where we'd expect it. And I know that, a couple people have said, hey, we're going to watch this. Well, you keep your eye on it. I'm going to watch other things because this is headed that direction. And I'm just glad that the update took it away because that's not even here. I'll show you. So this is the surface. You don't see any area of rotation. We'll come up to the 850 millibar level. And as you can see, we've got little areas of spin. I showed it to you there on the surface. So you've got winds colliding at different angles. You're going to induce some spin. Here's where it's at. It's a mid-level little feature. But as you can see, where are the winds on that mid-level feature going to take this? Due west. If we take it up to the 500 millibar level, you could see some little pocket of energy right here. And where is that going to take it? Well, go ahead and flare up with a little bit of shower and thunderstorm activity. And you will be receiving a vacation, a South American vacation. And the folks down there will either welcome or not your arrival. That's pretty much all that it is. So certainly not overly worried about that thing. Down there, but you never know. The tropics is still keep an eye on it because there's nothing else to watch. And as you can see at our 500 millibar level, we have our trough moving in a great amount of shear over the Gulf, and though we do have an area of low pressure located out here, so it's not in a conducive environment for development, folks. The winds at the 500 millibar level with the approaching trough are coming out of this direction. And out of the 250 millibar level, the winds are coming out of this direction. And hold on, let's make it even better. It's come all the way down to the surface. And there's hardly any steering winds whatsoever. So, yeah, good luck, area of low pressure. Uh, we're not going to do anything about that. So, that's what we have, folks. The Climate Prediction Center is still calling for the potential of development. And this is the part that I'll be interested. We'll get the new one out tomorrow. I really want to see if this holds. And what I'm interested in is if this little area here creeps down into that area there, down here. Does it slip into that colored area right there? That's going to be my question. That's my biggest concern, is getting it into this area here. Because the oceanic heat content, yes, the Gulf is smoking hot. The Gulf isn't the Caribbean, though. The Western Caribbean makes the Gulf look like some areas of the Western Caribbean make the Gulf look like child's play. So, as far as the oceanic heat content goes. And just to make sure that everybody sees, because I mentioned it, let's get into the Caribbean. Let's get into, let's see, September 7th. When I said that the Caribbean, you don't want that. I mean, the Gulf, yes, there's a lot of oceanic heat content out there in the Gulf of Mexico. We don't want that Caribbean smoke. We don't. That is off the chart. Keep that in mind. We don't want this smoke. No. Only one person I know that would like to see that, and that would be Morgan, but then he just wants to chase it and get some data because he's been running kind of dry. Oh, and before I get into the Pacific here, happy birthday to one of our team members, Marcus. You guys don't ever get to see him. He's always in the background. Occasionally he'll come out and maybe make a comment here and there, maybe attend a live every once in a great while, but that's background analytics right there. And happy birthday to our brother Marcus, for sure. All right, Eastern Pacific, we've got a spot. 10% chance of development over the next 48 hours and a 50% chance of development over the next 7 days. This area will need to be monitored by the folks here along the coast of southern Mexico and into portions of the Baja Peninsula. And then, of course, we've still got Hurricane Kiko, still a hurricane, still chugging along. Oh. Excuse me, Lord have mercy, my sinuses just decided. My nose was like, well, nope, we're going to ambush him right in the middle of the live. I've been fighting that sneeze for about 15 minutes, and, well, it decided ambush time. So, taking a look at Kiko. As we could see, still a hurricane. Hurricane reconnaissance went in there and found it as a Category 1. We're currently at 21.0 north and 149.9 west, about 350 miles east-northeast of Hilo, Hawaii. That is critical. You've got that northerly component. And 515 miles east of Honolulu, Hawaii. Still packing 85-mile-an-hour maximum sustained winds and moving northwest at 15 miles an hour with a minimum central pressure of 990 millibars. There are no coastal watches. I bet you this did it again, James. That ain't right. I know that ain't right. Oh, yeah, it is right. I'll be damned. Interest in the Hawaiian Islands should monitor, and it's only because of the surf, honestly. Maybe a few passing showers here and there. Not much. There are no warnings or watches or anything issued for Hawaii. As you can see with the forecast track, well to the north of Hawaii, well separated from the main island and all the other ones as well. Looking into the discussion, one thing that I would like to point out here is this portion. A pass showed the core of the circulation tilting with height towards the north. That is critical. That will hasten the weakening process for this. And thankfully, it's not going to hit land. So I mean, we're honestly just watching it at this point in time, and it may, as we can see here, uh, they want while the risk of direct impacts on the islands continue to decrease, they want people to monitor, and then the swells generated from it. It is forecast to become a tropical storm here very soon, and then slowly weaken after it gets past this shear component that it is going to be dealing with. And let me erase that mess. Let me come back over here to Earth null. Let me show this a little easier. If we come up to the 250 millibar level, let's put our trusty green circle down here on Kiko. We know that Kiko is currently moving this direction, north of the islands. This is the shear vector, the southwesterly shear, that it is being impinged on it by this low pressure right here. As Kiko rolls through this general vicinity up here near the low pressure, that is represented by this major dip in the forecast wind shear. As you can see, the sea surface temperatures here will be there, but then the mid-level humidity will be lacking. And as you could see, re-intensification is not necessarily considered here. So about 4 or 5 more days, we'll figure out stuff to talk about it. We'll show its multimedia or multi-model diagnostic, and just kind of go from there, because it's really no threat to land. Although it's no threat to land, we have tropical storm warnings for the, I guess you would call that, the international waters around the Hawaiian Islands. So looking into the models, obviously this is our Euro legacy. As you can see, we definitely have to keep an eye out on this area here. If it gets really close to the coastline, it may, cause some shower and thunderstorm activity along the southern periphery or the southern coasts of Mexico and the southwestern coast of Mexico, and then watching for the Baja here. Compare that with the Euro AI, something similar, maybe a little bit further to the west, which then would make it a little bit harder for impacts there to the Baja coast and peninsula. If we compare that with the GEFS, that's a different story. The GEFS wants to turn this into a damn monster, straight up. And if I push it out 12 days, though, as you could see, not much. So keeps it out here over the open waters, and then potentially kills it, because the water temperatures in this area, let me delete that. The water temps in this area, forget it. You're not tropical cycloning nothing. It's not happening. It's not happening. And the stable air associated with it as well. As you can see, you're not doing anything up here in this portion of the Eastern Pacific. You got to come from the south. You're not coming from the west. It's just not going to happen. Comparing that with the Google DeepMind, this is where things get a little bit interesting because they're still on it. We're going to come out 7 days. We're going to, that's just the Google DeepMind. All right, this is just the blue. Now, there's a few less than what we have seen, but there's still a considerable amount that bring it up from the south. I'm now going to include the green dots. And as you could see here, even the old model still has some too. So it's interesting. You know, we can even turn the euro on. Man, here, it's too much. The euro doesn't agree. The euro has just a few. AI says maybe not. No. It's really all going to depend upon how intense it is. Will it feel the trough up here? And will it feel the ability of getting tied in with the low pressure system and the weakness and draw up? It's possible. And we had Typhoon Tapa out here into the western Pacific. It did make landfall into China. The final warning was issued on that way earlier, but it did make typhoon status prior to landfall and has since just been unwinding over land, causing a lot of shower and thunderstorm activity with some flooding. And we've got our little spot out here, 92S, our little spot down in... we're going to go watch one twist the other direction. Hold on. Let's get back down to the surface. This little thing, he goes the opposite way. We're in the southern hemisphere, so things rotate the other direction. As you could see, got a good 850 millibar spin on it. But kind of frontal, running along a trough. So we'll see if it can do it. If it can separate and shed its frontal characteristics, we'll get another storm for the southern hemisphere. Give me something to talk about, something to watch. All right. Oh no, what happened? Oh Lord. Okay. Oh, y'all just roasting me. Oh, fun times. Great. All right, everybody. That's about all I got tonight. I tried to talk about what we could. We'll see what the models have got to show us tomorrow. See if there's any change, any continued trends, any changes in the trends. So, well, that's about all we can do right now, being that there is absolutely nothing on the board. No tropical cyclone activity is expected over the next 7 days. And we're right here. We're right there. If you'd have told me at the beginning of the season that 2 days before the climatological peak of hurricane season that we were going to be looking at this, I'd have asked you if you had seen a professional, therapist or something like that, if you were on medication and happened to miss a couple of your, prescribed, doses or something. Something would have been up, because I damn sure wouldn't have believed you. But, yep, here we are. Tropical cyclone activity is not expected. So... all right, everybody. Have a wonderful evening. We'll be back tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central here on Facebook and YouTube. So until then, have a great night. Good night.